Hello, and welcome to my David Wilson Out and About YouTube channel. Continuing my Castles, Kings and Other Things series, today I am visiting Bodiam Castle in East Sussex. During this tour of the grounds and castle, I will continue with a brief history and discover what remains of this medieval castle. Bodiam Castle is a 14th century moated castle near Robertsbridge in East Sussex, England. It was built in 1385 by Sir Edward Dalyngridge, a former knight of Edward III, with the permission of Richard II, ostensibly to defend the area against French invasion during the 100 Years' War. This castle was primarily built for defence, featuring a square layout with a large moat, drawbridge and battlements. Its design is often described as a quintessential example of a concentric castle designed to withstand potential attacks. This castle was also built to impress. It stands free from outbuildings and is magnified by its reflection in the moat. It was also a luxury home and an expression of their status. Over time, the interior fell into ruin. Remarkably, the walls, towers and setting survived. From the 18th century, it became known for its appeal as an ancient monument. At this point, we are looking at the rear of the castle. Originally, there was a bridge to the postern, or secondary gate. The big south-facing window indicates the prestige of the space. Above the window is a walkway to the southeast tower. The walls are crenellated. Crenellated walls have gaps in the top or openings through which to fire at attackers. This is typical of medieval castles. We are now at the medieval bridge. Sir Edward Dalyngridge would have crossed the moat where I am standing now. The stones on the bank mark the site of the original bridge, which at the octagon would have made a sharp right turn. This made the bridge easier to defend and the walls look more imposing. The medieval bridge was lost centuries ago, although in 1919 the then owner Lord Curzon discovered the foundations. Little by little, the main timbers were exposed to view, lying in the mud as they had fallen. Since the 18th century, access has been from the north bank, as it is today. This moat was partly a defensive feature and partly designed to impress, with the castle reflected in the water. Visitors enter the castle by crossing a long bridge over the moat to an octagonal stone platform. The bridge then continues to the platform of the former outer Barbican and finally to the Gatehouse. Perfectly circling the castle, this moat is undeniably impressive. Walking towards the drawbridge, we see the remains of the Barbican. This was a two-storey fortified defensive structure which would have been occupied by a guard and a gatekeeper. A castle's barbican is a fortified outpost or gateway that works as an outer defence perimeter or second barrier. In medieval times, the barbican was set in front of the main castle walls and connected to them through a neck. In many cases, barbicans formed part of a castle gatehouse complex. They acted as a sort of funnel that could trap attackers in a narrow space so they could be attacked by nearby towers. As we reach the gatehouse, we will see the portcullis. Tests reveal that this portcullis is original and one of only a few surviving in Britain today. On the tower is Dalyngridge's coat of arms. His tournament helm features a unicorn in the medieval period, a symbol of Christ. His shield is flanked by that of Wardadieu for his wife Elizabeth and Radinden for his mother Alice. Dalyngridge was an experienced soldier, a knight who had fought in the wars with France. Bodiam Castle was an expression of his power and status. The thick walls give the impression of being impenetrable, and the parapet above the entrance could have concealed archers. For added defence, there are gun loops for handheld cannons. There were originally 3 portcullis gates, with the outermost gate still remaining. In the vaulted ceiling are ring bosses, or murder holes, through which missiles could be dropped on attackers. The ruined walls were once neat fronts of stone-built rooms. The surviving windows and fireplaces offer clues as to how the buildings surrounding the courtyard were arranged and where each floor was situated. Just off the central courtyard is the screens passage, which divided the castle between the service end and the main rooms. The whole household would have eaten here at communal meals. Guests sat at benches with tables set lengthways down the hall, and the Dalyngridges sat on a stepped dais facing the room. Often owners would retreat to their chambers to eat and only dine with the others on special occasions. The kitchen was reached through the central arches of the screens passage. There is a huge roasting hearth in the south wall and a second hearth in the north, inset with bread or pastry ovens. Situated within the southwest tower, the Well of Bodiam refers to a large functional medieval well. It is a significant part of the castle's infrastructure, providing a vital source of water for the castle inhabitants during its time of use. The large circular pool is believed to have been fed by a spring. It may have been a water source for cooking, drinking water, or even a place to bathe. A retainer in a castle was a skilled servant, or aide to a noble or noble house. Retainers performed a variety of services, including military service for a lord in exchange for protection and land. Retainers were the medieval equivalent of modern-day battle tanks. They were expected to provide the service of one fully equipped mounted warrior. A postern is a secondary door or gate, particularly in a fortification such as a city wall or castle curtain wall. Posterns were often located in a concealed location, allowing the occupants to come and go inconspicuously. In the event of a siege, a postern could act as a sally port, allowing defenders to make a surprise sortie on the besiegers. This castle had 2 stewards. Stewards were responsible for managing the castle and the lord's household, collecting taxes and holding the keys to the castle. The upper levels of the castle had accommodation for a kitchen steward and a dovecote. At this point, my osteoarthritis was affecting me and I stopped to stare up at the tower that defeated me. The private apartments are located on the eastern elevation of the castle and are made up of 3 chambers, an unheated outer chamber, an inner chamber with a fireplace and window seat, and a further inner chamber with a fireplace. The chapel was once decorated with coloured Flemish tiles and divided by a fine screen carved in chalk. There was a space above the chapel called an oratory, where Sir Edward and Lady Elizabeth would sit, believing that the higher they were, the closer they were to God. The high end of the hall leads to the main private apartments. Built with comfort in mind, they are set across 2 floors. East-facing windows captured the morning light and fireplaces provided added warmth. This is a castle I have visited many times over the past 40 years, and I hope that you have enjoyed visiting it with me. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button to help and encourage me to continue producing outdoorsy content and to be informed of future videos.